Hi there. If you or someone you know is experiencing panic attacks, or even if they just had one panic attack, this might be helpful for you to understand, because I think that ignorance is not bliss, and the more information you've got about your own physiology or somebody who you care about's physiology, I think that can be a relief to you. So when we have a panic attack, we have a perceived threat in our brain. We've had some thought that actually triggers the sympathetic nervous system, and that is because we feel, whether it's real or imagined, doesn't matter, the brain still functions in the same way. So if you are going somewhere and you feel nervous about that, and that nervousness becomes amplified, then that can be the trigger. So we've got a perceived or imagined threat. Then we've got what happens unbeknownst to us is our breathing changes. And our breathing changes, and it usually becomes shallower up here. We start panting. We don't recognize it as panting, but that's the kind of thing that's happening. When that happens, we have other physical symptoms. So we get sweaty palms, we get palpitations, we get all sorts of things. Everybody's symptoms in a panic attack are unique to them. I am not prescribing that this cascade has the same symptoms for everybody. That is not the case, but it is. There are going to be themes in this that you'll recognize if you have had a panic attack. So that happens. I mean, I had a panic attack 15 years ago. It was absolutely the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. My face went completely numb. Now, if something physical like that happens, you then start having thoughts about, what the heck is this? Am I having a heart attack? Am I having a stroke? So you have, cognitions, you have misinterpreted thoughts. You begin to sort of fantasize about what this can be, and it feels existential. It feels like you are actually in a life-threatening situation. So when you are experiencing that, the next thing that happens is that you've got the misinterpretations, you begin to catastrophize about that. So that last bit is the catastrophizing. So you're in that existential, oh my God, I'm going to die here situation. And that's obviously a false alarm, because we don't die from panic attacks. I mean, people have fainted from panic attacks, but death is not the consequence of a panic attack. So therefore, the other thing I haven't mentioned is that your adrenaline is pumping like crazy. And that is because you're in fight, flight, or freeze. The body wants to move. It wants to be out of this situation because it feels out of control. There's something that is likely to happen to you. And so if it's possible for you to go for a power walk, then that is a really beneficial thing, because then your adrenaline has somewhere to go. And that calms everything down. You've only got so much adrenaline. Your adrenaline doesn't pump all day, every day. It surges. So it's really helpful to be able to recognize that. If you go for a walk or a run or whatever, maybe get on the treadmill, I don't know, you'll have your own way of kind of getting your energy up. So find your own comfort zone for that. Safety behaviors. Once you've had one panic attack, you actually are fearful of that fear. You're fearful of that happening again. And also we do things like we feel embarrassed about having had a panic attack. Say it's happened in a public space, or with, even if it's just with a loved one or somebody that cares about you, you still feel that it's sort of something extreme has happened in that moment. And so we do start safety behaviors. We stop doing things, we get into avoidance, we get into magical thinking. If I carry this with me, my panic attack won't happen. There's all kinds of things that begin to happen, but don't underestimate the panic attack. If you or anybody else around you is having them, it is a really scary thing to happen. And the things that we can do about it are like the power walk. If you can do something like that, I've got a breathing thing, which is a really intentional exhale. And if you can do that really intentional exhale, as early on in the process of the panic, as soon as you recognize it, and that is for as long as you can, because as soon as you're in panic and you're doing that shallow breathing, you're over breathing. And when we're over breathing and we go to take another breath in, we can't get another breath in. So that creates another thing that we've got to be scared about. I can't get my breath. So understanding it is really helpful. Ignorance is not bliss, and be kind to anybody who's having a panic attack around you, especially yourself. Okay?